Broadcasting from the 72nd floor of First Canadian Place in the heart of Toronto's financial district, this is #Finance, the podcast that profiles innovative entrepreneurs and thought leaders operating in the public markets. Presented to you by the CSE, the Exchange for Entrepreneurs.
Folks, it's James Black. We're on the 72nd floor of First Canadian Place, and I'm happy to be joined on the couch with Dan Mitre from New Wave Esports, listed on the CSE, symbol NWES. And we're kicking it on the couch today, and we're going to kick it old school, because today we're actually doing something a little different. We're in the Media Centre. We're going to play some video games. We're going to play some old school video games, because this is what I was raised on when I was in my formative years. And I think yourself, you're probably a Genesis guy or a Super Nintendo guy? What was your...
Well, I started off with Atari, actually. Graduated the NES and then latched on in my formative years to Sega. So we were a Sega family, and so I'd always be at your house to play the NES, the Super NES, and we would swap.
Because no one had ever, today everyone owns multiple systems, but back then, one friend had the NES, one had maybe they upgraded Super Nintendo, someone had Genesis. Because I remember... when I was playing, I'd always had to go with my friends' house to play NHL hockey on the Sega, because I had the Super Nintendo version that didn't have the full NHL license.
Right.
So we only had the colors but none of the teams. So it was kind of weird. So anyways, authentic experience. But that's not necessarily why we're here today to talk. We'll talk video games for sure. But we're going to play some games. We're going to try to be multifunctional. We're going to multitask. We're going to talk about your company. We're going to talk about esports as an investment opportunity. And but we're most importantly going to talk about your experience in gaming, because I know it's a rich history. And for a lot of people of our generation, I don't know if I classify as millennial, but I'm in my late 30s. We want to, we played all these games. Now we can actually invest in them and actually make money, and hopefully, investing in teams and the professionalization. So right now I'm wearing a Toronto Defiant shirt, which is it's a professional squad here in Toronto, and they play Overwatch professionally. And I don't know if they're a good team or not, but you know what? It's a new industry, so it's all coming out. Yeah. So first things first, we got to pick a game. So we gotta figure out what we're gonna do here.
So we're playing the new SNES Mini. Yeah. You know what? I picked that up when it first came out. It was really hard to get.
Yeah.
And so I was hawking all the Amazon stores.
Yeah.
And I was ready to just bolt out of work anytime Amazon called me.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd be calling me, "Hey, Dan, we've got a SNES." "Oh, sorry, I just went out the door." What a tease.
Yeah.
And so I took, right in the middle of my work day, and when I was able to pick up 2 of them when it first came out. Now they're everywhere. But,
yeah, still that feeling of getting it when no one else has it is unmatched. Even though these games, just remember, they've been out for 30 years, and most of them you can get online through emulation. So the novelty is the box, I think, and the controllers, the authentic controllers.
It really is. It feels true to back in the 90s.
It's pretty close. I feel like the originals were a little thicker and a little more robust, but you know what?
Were smaller.
They were true. There's no better way to test the controllers than to play probably what? You want to try some Street Fighter?
Let's play some Street Fighter.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
I think you're player 1, so you got to play.
Okay, here we
start.
Go. What's your character?
Well, you'll find out in a second here.
Oh, okay. I'm a Ryu guy.
Hadouken. What do you think this game would have been something people could compete professionally on, or was there too many cracks in the seams back then without patches to actually have this? Because I know, sorry to get not too much in the weeds, but the original Super Smash Brothers is still a competitively played game on the N64, even though it's an unpatched game. Now patches come out all the time. Do you think people could still compete playing this game, or is it too exploitive?
So that's a very loaded question.
It is,
okay,
sorry.
So number one, back in the 90s, Street Fighter was played competitively. It started in, obviously, arcades and coin-op, but that's where EVO started.
Right.
And EVO started with supporting Street Fighter and a couple other key fighting games.
Yeah.
Now, back then, from a development standpoint, okay, you're going to be Blanca.
Yeah.
All right. From a development standpoint, you didn't have patches. What was shipped was what was shipped.
Yeah.
So it had to be bulletproof and it had to be solid.
Yeah.
So these games were pretty damn good because you couldn't go out and patch. You couldn't go and release another Street Fighter update.
If you delayed a game, it wouldn't be such a big deal because the companies maybe weren't public, or you know what, there's just a different mentality around when you got a game.
Yeah.
You wouldn't wait till the first day it comes out. You wouldn't know. You just kind of show up at the mall and be like, I knew Street Fighter 2 was coming, but now here it is.
Yeah, maybe you got the latest Electronic Gaming Monthly. You're able to follow that. If you're super otaku, or, really into gaming, you would know, and then you share that with your friends. Let's go to. Let's go to Japan.
I think you just snuck an extra attack power. I'm not gonna.
Oh, did I? My bad.
It's okay. And I didn't remap my controller, so I'm out to lunch here. Just so you know, kids, this is Turbo. So originally there was Street Fighter 2, then Turbo, which was faster.
This is much faster.
And you could actually play as the bad guys, the final bosses from the original Street Fighter 2. And you had more color options for your characters. So you weren't just stuck being white Ryu. You could be, what color is that outfit? That gi is
this is like a periwinkle?
Yeah.
This is periwinkle Ryu?
Very stylish periwinkle ninja gi. And but it's still all the characters you know and love. We got Blanca, he's got the electric things started really going crazy when they hit Street Fighter 3. And then they got into the 3D games, and that was I was out of it by then. It was just too much. I just died.
It was the extra PowerPoint. That's what it was.
I'll give you that. Right on. So you talked about the competitive aspect of where this started. Now, fast forward like 30 years, you got people playing across the country, across the globe. They are still playing fighting games, but they're also, I think, the number one competitive form for games would be the shooters. So we got Fortnite, we've got things like Destiny. Destiny's not a competitive, but Call of Duty is probably one of the bigger ones, and then obviously Overwatch. Why do you think that's the case? Why is the competitive market gravitated towards shooters?
Well, shooters are the number one genre in the world for quite some time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons behind that. It's so fast paced. There's the pop culture behind having this piece of equipment in front of you, and there's a lot of
rig,
there's a whole community behind the actual accuracy of the weapons that you're playing in the game.
Yeah.
But these companies that have dialed in these first-person shooter experiences have made them so raw and visceral.
Yeah.
You feel so connected in the game. It's that first-person view.
Yeah.
And you could do a lot with that from a narrative standpoint to the immersion, to the way these guns handle, and from a competitive standpoint. You really start to bring in the skill and the dexterity behind using a mouse or using the controller and being able to get those headshots. That's that prime shot.
Yeah.
Why did that gravitate and latch onto in the gaming community over, say, a fighting game? I just think it's a much more wider mass audience appeal. First-person shooters.
Yep.
You look at Overwatch, you look at Call of Duty, you look at Battlefield, and you look at all these incredible experiences. And they really do have a fully immersive environment.
Yeah.
I mean, you just play it. Play that compared to, say, a niche title like Gran Turismo.
A racing game.
Yeah, not everyone's into racing, but the audience that backs, say, a World War II game or some sort of modern contemporary war game is much bigger than some sort of racing or a niche audience of Street Fighter.
Yeah, no, and I mean, this is by no means was niche.
No, comparatively.
Pick your guy. We're gonna have a rematch. And
Okay,
I'm gonna probably lose again.
I should play something I don't know.
No one knows how to use M. Bison.
No one knows.
Delsum is a total dud. He sucks.
Okay, I'll do Delsum.
No offense. I don't want to offend any Delsum fans out there.
Okay, so now we're 4 stars each.
Yeah, now when you win, you can actually lay claim to... So you talk about stages. Okay, so back when we grew up with these games, you had like 8 stages. I think when they put out... When you got Turbo, you got 4 extra stages, and that was it. Now, when you play in these maps and these other games, you're getting... you can be anywhere in the world. It's really exciting. I think that's one of the magic things about video games. It teleports you to places you wouldn't otherwise be. For example, right now we are in a fishing village, I assume, in Brazil, which...
with this, very monstrous tree behind us.
Yeah, what kind of tree is that?
I don't know. It looks like it
There's
has
a snake. I never noticed a snake behind there. Oh, geez.
Oh, it is. It's a snake that's
big
actually
pike.
wrapped around it, huh?
It's like a river pike or something they got there. But yeah, it's amazing how this is transported 30 years later into being what would you say, a multi-billion-dollar industry at this point?
Gaming itself? Yeah.
Competitive gaming, yeah.
Well, you have esports, which is turning into a $1.9 billion industry. And even then, that's a sliver of the traditional, like the actual gaming industry, which is turning into a $200 billion industry.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So even though, that is a small portion of it, just whatever that percentage is,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of money to be made and to capitalize.
Absolutely, yeah. No, and
See, I do not know how to use Dalcine.
no one does. That was my first guy. I spent a few quarters on Dalcin back in the day at the mall.
Yeah, how do you do the flame breath?
I think you just got to tap the small.
Oh, I just did it.
Yeah. Now,
Yoga flame.
the problem with these old SNES controllers is almost impossible to do Ken's and Ryu's
The dragon
uppercut.
punch?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's a
Because you're
tough
going to
one.
get blisters, kids, if you don't know how to do it, or you got to kind of hold it funny.
That's why you need the joystick.
You need the joystick, and there was a.
Ooh, that
Oh,
one.
I think we got a tie now. This is interesting. All right.
Okay.
Now
so,
you got to get your game face on, Dan. This is.
Well,
Oh, I won the match. Okay,
you
rubber
won the match. Okay, we're
All
1-1.
Now we're gonna do the rubber match now.
Throw down a
I
quarter.
forgot. Yeah. So with New Wave, we'll just touch on that for a minute. What exactly are you guys investing in? What is your exposure to the industry that you're trying to give to your investors? Where do you see the opportunities for profit?
So we invest in the esports ecosystem.
Yeah.
We've broken that down into 4 verticals.
Mm-hmm.
The first one being teams. I think that's a no-brainer, right?
Yep.
That's where the big inherent media value is. Whenever your team competes and they win, or even if they lose, like there's a lot to talk about there. But there's a lot of money coming into the team sector.
Yeah.
You have celebrities that are putting in, 30, 40 million, such as like Drake and the 100 Thieves. And there's dozens of other cases like that. So teams are going to be monumental in being able to bring esports to mass audiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
We also invest in events and activations. So this is like that raw, visceral experience of, here, I think I know how to. Oh, you know.
Remember, Chun-Li can bounce off the wall, or the screen, I should say. There's no wall. She just bounces off there.
I'm trying to get the Chun-Li kick. Here we go.
Yeah.
There it is. So we also invest in events and activations. And actually, I'm very proud of the team at Even Matchup Gaming, which is one of our investments, who runs FGC tournaments around Super Smash Brothers, and they work with World Gaming to bring Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 and Dragon Ball Fighter Z to competitive arenas here in Toronto and in Tri-State area. So that's very important because the teams come out and compete in those.
Yes.
So now you're starting to see how these verticals are actually reliant on each other for success. You also have platforms and networks. So, okay, I'm James and I live in a small town. I don't have access to esports, or maybe I'm not good enough to compete on a professional level, but I want to hop online and play with my friends and play an online tournament. Or I want to place some wage betting on an upcoming match. Well, that's where platforms come into play, and I'm going to kick the hell out of you. Boom, boom, boom. Come on, yeah! So we invest in platforms and networks, and one of the investments is Playline, and they bring daily fantasy sports to your mobile device and web.
Interesting.
And then lastly, we invest in tech and tools. So this is the backbone of the industry. This is data insights, business intelligence, how businesses can better understand their audience and make better esports experiences for gamers. So what you're seeing there is an ecosystem. And people are like, oh, well, let me just put all my money into a team. I would not advise that.
No.
Because teams are very much reliant on prize winnings, which are not guaranteed. But
not a consistent revenue stream.
No, unless they have content programming. And they're building out their content programming, have audiences latching on to those athletes, and then they can sell that audience impression and numbers to brands and sponsors who want to get in front of hyper-engaged audiences.
Sure, like the analog would be, I think we should do one, before I continue that point, we should do a Mario Kart race before we finish up here.
Oh, dude, yes.
Let's get some motion sickness before we head on to our day.
F-Zero, there's
there
Contra.
goes Mario Kart. There we go. Let's give her a whirl. It's almost like MSG Network owning the Knicks and then owning the cable rights for that team, and then obviously all the properties. That's sort of where I see the analog with the sports ownership. You got to be vertically integrated so that the team isn't winning and making money from that. At least you have the property of the team itself. Now, my question for you, and this is just more about the industry, is how do you see the health of players and the role of players as being a key brand builder? Because what we're seeing is a lot of players, we casually play on the couch. It's all good. I can put it down. These guys are putting in long days. They're putting in long, multi-hour, like 12, 14, 15-hour days playing these games. What do we say about the players that maybe only have a 3 or 4 year shelf life Are they something that we're going to build the industry on? Or are we going to not worry so much about the players as a brand building tool and just look at the teams and the infrastructure of the team?
We got to pay attention to both.
Yeah.
Look, our athletes within esports are. There are LeBron James. There are Tom Brady's. And we have to invest in them. These are the careers of young, talented stars that a lot of the time are willing to put their education aside for gaming and becoming a professional athlete. So we need to build systems in place that say, no, stay in school, educate yourself, because that's very much important to, number one, set example for the audiences that are following them. Yeah. But also, what happens when you're done being a pro athlete? Maybe you burn out. Maybe you get tired of doing that. Maybe you're not as manually dexterous and you're starting to phase out. And so that's why we need to lean into the education, but also the health. Sure. So we know that cognitive thinking is very much linked to good health, good nutrition, getting out there and exercising. And so that's why I love teams that invest in their players by having
chefs,
a team health.
Personal trainers, like the whole deal.
It's just like any other sport. Yeah. So, and that also removes that negative stigma of, oh, we're just gamers, just sit around all day. That's not true. So, when your body is functioning at a high caliber, your brain is. Sure. And your muscles are. So they're all very much interlinked, and we need to set that standard going forward.
Unlike what we're doing now, which is actually quite relaxing, what they're doing is very stressful. And to deal with that stress is something that's probably what a lot of people don't appreciate. It's not just a game, especially when you have an audience online and millions of people watching on Twitch or whatever. It's probably incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Princess Peach. I've always been a Peach fan in this game.
I'm Yosh.
She's a little, they're both what we would call evenly balanced characters. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
they're not like Bowser, where he's just a super heavy tank, slow, but
good breakaway speed. Yeah.
Yeah, and it can bump you off track.
And this is a this is a heads up match right now, so it's just me and you on the track. In the Mushroom Kingdom here doing our thing.
You start to have a lot of respect for influencers, like streamers, right?
Yeah.
Where, they're not playing Mario Kart, they're playing like something much more intensive like Overwatch. Yeah. And still hosting a conversation. Yeah. And chat. And dialing in their tips.
It's not as easy as it looks.
No.
See, this is kind of coming down to the wire, this one. And,
dude, I feel like
I got my little mushroom there and cut over the dirt, the gravel path. It's still lap 4, okay. Yeah, no, it's and what you said is a lot of these players, they when they retire, they actually, we're seeing some top players move out of competition because it's more lucrative or less intensive for them to stream. But streaming, actually, some of these guys are putting in 10-hour days streaming. I mean, the demand for streaming content from some of these top producers, top streamers is it's pretty intensive.
It really is. They're streaming minimum 8 hours a day. Yeah. They're creating YouTube content to have some evergreen views. Yeah. They're always working on building their audiences. That's very important, especially when you have brand partnerships. Yeah. And you're paid yearly on a salary to make sure you hit certain KPIs, whether it's mentioning that brand or product at X amount of times during the hour. Yeah. But not only that, but a lot of these big time and mid-shelf streamers, they're putting their pants on. They're going to events. They got to go make appearances and still stream. So they're always having to put something in the hopper. Yeah. Through my past about 8 years that now, the influencer space has really thrived. That's what I worked on in a lot of my companies, whether it's EA and THQ, is working with guys like Shroud and Ninja. All the way down to some of the more mid-tier like Stone Mountain, which Stone's now up in the higher ranks, but a lot of different guys and gals that have dedicated their careers to playing games and creating great platforms for brands to get in front of these hyper-engaged audiences. And it is it's a lifestyle that you have to choose and be prepared for.
Yeah, it's not easy, I'm sure.
No.
Just like this wasn't easy today. Actually, this was really easy. This was awesome.
I'll come back and play games with you anytime, James.
We'll kick it here anytime. We'll kick it here anytime. We'll play games on the big screen, the 18x8 digital wall. I'm amazed that this thing runs these games as smoothly as it does.
Oh my God, this is fun.
This is good, yeah. But come back again. Thanks, Dan, for joining us. It's New Wave Esports on the CSE. You're watching #Finance. If you're watching on YouTube on CSE TV, subscribe below. If you're listening today, you did miss out on some of the gaming aspect, but if you're listening, I hope you were. We're on Spotify, SoundCloud, Google, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We're doing at least 2 pods a day with public companies and influencers. Real pleasure, man. Thanks again.
James, thank you so much.
Yeah. Until next time, this has been James, Dan, Mitre, New Wave Esports. Thanks for watching.
We're social here at the CSE. Each and every day we'll keep you up to date on trending topics that investors are talking about, such as cannabis, blockchain, and esports. Follow daily CSE news and events on your favorite social media platform: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You'll find exclusive interviews with leading entrepreneurs from a variety of industries, thought-provoking stories from across the world of finance, and updates from CSE events taking place worldwide. Join the conversation and connect with us today.
Hi, it's Grace from the CSE reminding you to make sure to follow us on social media for the latest updates on our listed companies as well as new listing alerts. For more in-depth content, be sure to pick up our free quarterly magazine, Public Entrepreneur, available online at thecse.com.